FLISP primarily caters for first-time home buyers.
Okay.
Basically, it's for families entering the property market or attaining home ownership for the first time.
Welcome again. This is the guest segment on Africa Business Radio. I am Nonso Mordi. Now, Ooba Group has partnered with the National Housing Finance Corporation to facilitate the government-introduced finance-linked individual subsidy program, in other words, FLISP, that looks to close a gap in the home buying market. Today, we are talking about this program, sharing with you all you need to know about it. And joining me to have this conversation is Jackie Smith, Head of Product for Ooba Group. Welcome to the show, Jackie.
Thanks, Nonso. Thank you for having me.
All right. Okay, so let's go straight to it. What exactly is a FLISP subsidy? What is its purpose?
Okay, so the FLISP subsidy is a program that was introduced by the South African government as a housing subsidy for first-time home buyers to assist them with purchasing a home. FLISP was initially introduced as a down payment assistance program to reduce sort of the loan or the bond amount for a home buyer, which would ultimately then reduce the monthly installment. So, you asked me what is the purpose of it, and it's quite interesting because, its primary function was to accelerate delivery of housing in South Africa, in a particular market normally referred to as affordable or the gap market. The South African government introduced a variety of national housing subsidy programs which provides the poor and to low to middle income household with access to adequate housing. Amongst those programs that they introduced was FLISP, which is the one we're talking about today. And FLISP was specifically intended for the market segment whose income was inadequate to qualify for a home loan through your traditional banks, but it also then exceeds the maximum limit applicable to access the government's fully subsidized housing schemes.
All right. So are you saying that this program caters for just potential home buyers?
So FLISP primarily caters for first-time home buyers.
Okay.
Basically, it's for families entering the property market or attaining home ownership for the first time.
Okay. All right. Okay, so let's go to requirements. What are the things you need to qualify for this program?
You need to earn between 3,500 to 22,000 as a gross combined household income. So if there is a husband and a wife, their collective earnings need to be no more than 22,000. You have to be a South African citizen or have permanent residency in South Africa. You should not have received a government subsidy before, a government housing subsidy before. You must be sort of married or, living with dependents and so on. And obviously you have to be over 18, and you should never have then owned fixed residential property as well. And if you're single, you have to have financial dependence because, ultimately the government's aim is to place families in homes.
Okay. Interesting. So you're saying you have to have like $22,000 in your account.
22,000 rand. South African rand.
I'm sorry. 22,000 rand.
I wish we could earn $22,000.
That's a whole lot, isn't it?
That's a whole lot of money right there.
Okay. Let's speak about the partnership between Ooba and NHFC. Now, what inspired this partnership? Basically?
Yeah, so that question really excites me, Nonso. At Ooba Home Loans, we empower people to own their own home. It is something that our business is structured to do on a daily basis. And, the National Housing Finance Corporation recognized this vision within Ooba, and they fully understand our business model. So they related to the fact that Ooba engages with thousands of potential home buyers on a daily basis. we have insight into whether home seekers are first-time home buyers. And because we believe that understanding a home buyer's affordability or credit score is vital to obtain any sort of finance, the barriers to entry is significantly lowered for the National Housing Finance Corporation, because we can then place their product very high up in the home buying cycle. We have partnered with them not only to pre-qualify people for the housing subsidy, but also, adjacent to our pre-qualification for a home loan, or to see what your affordability is like. We have worked on this partnership with them, and it's the first in South Africa.
This is amazing. Ooba is really passionate. You are passionate, because I can hear it from your voice.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, with this, it seems there is an increased trend in home buying in South Africa. What exactly has caused this?
Well, the government obviously understands the need for home ownership. And I think they are striving every day to make owning a home more attainable. And therefore, things like the FLISP subsidy that can help people, reduce the expense of buying a home. They've made it more attainable, like I said, and having a lump sum or a non-repayable subsidy paid towards the ownership of a home. Why not, And we at Ooba, obviously, we are driven, like I said, to empower people to own their own homes. And now within South Africa, the government is so geared to want to make sure that families are placed in homes.
All right. So that means this subsidy is also helping to bridge the socioeconomic gap that the economy is facing.
Yes, it definitely is. 100% it is.
Okay. Now, just for those who don't know the importance of buying their own home, there's a certain joy with knowing that, this is mine, this is my own space.
Oh, yes.
What will you say are the benefits of getting your own space?
Well, I think it's just that knowing that your family has a roof over their head. That's the dream we all live for. We all wake up every morning wanting to make sure that your family's taken care of, that your legacy is being protected. And specifically in South Africa, post-apartheid, that is what the government is striving to do. And you want to have something that you can call your own. And that being a roof over your head is what everybody in South Africa definitely strives for on a daily basis.
Interesting. Yes, I totally agree with you. Now with the subsidy, how will Ooba help to identify this, potential home buyers? How can South African people tap into this FLISP subsidy?
Yeah, so people can obviously reach out to us. They can either contact us in South Africa. If I can give the number on 021-481-7300, or they can go onto our website, www.ooba.co.za. There's multiple tools on the website that they can use to engage, and we call it affordability tools, to engage with Ooba. And from there, we can then identify, do you fall into that category that of qualifying criteria for the subsidy? Our consultants are then geared to take the consumer through that process and then to engage with the National Housing Finance Corporation to ensure that, the person meets this criteria. And there's a couple of criteria. Obviously, like I mentioned earlier, you should not have owned a home before. Okay. And all of these pre-checks are done before we put the potential home buyer down a path that, will just be a dream-destroying path for him or her.
Okay, interesting. Now, I know the government has recognized the need to make home ownership attainable to everyone, like you said, and your company too has also recognized the need and is trying to help people to achieve that dream. Are there any other partnerships from both public and private in South Africa?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of interesting things happening, specifically in the affordable market, in that gap housing space right now, both from private and public partnerships. More specifically, things like our traditional retail banks has introduced more products that makes home ownership more attainable. They've introduced things like cost-inclusive bonds, offering discounted costs for first-time home buyers in this affordable housing space. So definitely the industry or the greater ecosystem of owning property in South Africa is standing up and saying we need to pull all the stops out here and make whatever we can possible to place more people in homes.
Okay. But there can be more partnerships, yes?
Oh, of course, always. There could be more lenders. We could look for more people to say, we'd like a slice of this pie. How do we get involved to build more cost affordable houses for people? So from a development space, I know that the National Housing Finance Corporation are also looking to, partake in funding for the building of homes and so on. So there's lots of opportunity currently in South Africa for both the public and private sector to play in this affordable or gap market.
Okay. Now, my last question is for you. Now, you're head of product for Ooba Group, and I just want to know, what has working for Ooba Group? How has it influenced you, especially when it comes to this home ownership? What would you say has been your experience so far?
Oh, that is such an awesome question. So, I always, when I stand in front of our national sales force, and I always ask this question, who was born in a house that their parents owned? In South Africa, who was born in a house that their parents owned? And I definitely wasn't. Working in Ooba has opened my eyes as to the divide that there was in our country and what the importance is of us waking up every single morning and narrowing that divide. It's been 24, 25 years of post apartheid, and it's going to take a while. But at Ooba, and why I wake up every single morning coming to Ooba, is because our stars or our strategies are aligned to making sure that we narrow that gap. And if 10 years from now, post my legacy, I hope that when the next head of product stands in front of our sales force and say, who was born in a house that their parents own, that actually 90% of the room can lift up their hands, and that's what's phenomenal about being part of the Ooba journey.
Oh, amazing. I really love how much you spoke about it. Like I said, you're truly passionate about that, and it's amazing to hear.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Jackie. I'm pretty sure the South African listeners have learned one or two about the subsidy, and they'll definitely tap into it.
Absolutely. I hope so. And thank you for having me.
No problem. All right. That was Jackie Smith, head of product for Ooba Group. More coming your way. Stay tuned.